Hello everyone, welcome to UiPath tutorial with Level Up Tech. So in this video we are going to see the concept about selector. Okay, so here is our agenda. So we are going to see what is selector first and its classification. So first of all, before getting into UiPath Studio, right, let's learn some things which is related to selector theoretically. Okay, the first thing is what is selector. So the selector in technical terms, like the selector is a XML fragment. When I talk about XML fragment, what does mean by XML? Okay, so, and how it will look like. So XML is a extensible markup language, that is the abbreviation of XML. Okay, and how it will look like, it will have a root node and it will have some intermediary nodes and followed by the destination node, that is again we will say like root 1. So it will be having the source node and then some of the intermediary nodes, and finally we will be having the destination node. Okay, and the selector also will work exactly similar like this. We will be having a source node and the intermediary, and then the final one is the destination node or the final node, we can say. Okay, and we should also know like what is the data type of selector. So we have seen integer, string and all, right, the data tables and all. So here the selector's data type is string. Okay, and here we'll understand what is selector in non-technical way now. Okay, so consider you are sending a parcel to your friend who stays in different city. So what are all the things you will be considering to send your query? The first and the foremost thing is like we will be having the address, correct? In address we can again subclassify these things into the door number and then the street name and then the district where he is located and then the city where he is located. Finally we will be having the zip code, right? So these are all the things which we will be considering to send a query to your friend. If you are not mentioning or if you are incorrectly mentioning the zip code, then the courier might not reach the destination person, the target person, or else it will again return you to the back, right? So here the address is the foremost thing in order to send your query to the target person. Similarly, here in UiPath, using UiPath, we are going to deal with or interact with multiple applications. Okay, and whatever we are seeing currently, right, this is user interface. Okay, and here this file is a one element. Okay, this is one button, and if you want to interact with, how we will be doing it? By doing mouse click we will be doing, right? So here this is one UI element, this is user interface element, and this is another user interface element, and the final this view is another user interface element. Once we expand this, like we will be getting many more stuffs or many more options, right? So here again if you want to interact with the target application, let's consider the application itself a notepad. Okay, and if you want to click file and we want to automate this particular process, UiPath has to interact with this application first, and then it has to find the unique ID of this file button. Based on that only it will be able to do it. So that's how it will work. So basically here the selector is nothing but the address of the UI element. So we know this is one particular UI element, this is one UI element, and whatever we are seeing, those are all the things which are UI element. And if UiPath wants to interact with this file button, then UiPath should know the address of this particular UI element. Without that it will be not able to interact. Okay, so that is called a selector. Basically in simple terms we can say it is the address of the UI element. Okay, now we have two more things, and that is the classification of selector. Okay, one is partial selector and one is full selector. So we will see this two stuffs with the help of an example. Okay, now I am into my UiPath. Currently, like what we are going to do is I have one application that is Centrix data solution application, which is a desktop application. Okay, and we are going to do a small automation over there by giving the hard-coded values for this session and in the upcoming session we will get the data from other sources and we will do the data entry job. Okay, so here let me walk you through the manual process first. So whenever you are going to get started with the automation, the first and foremost thing is like you have to document like how you are interacting or how you are doing the process manually. Okay, so let me write it down here, the manual steps. So now our target application is nothing but the Centrix data solution. So to interact with that particular application, what is the foremost step? We have to first open the application. That is the foremost step. Without opening the application, we will be not able to interact, right? We can, but we should be having some API, then only we will be able to. But for now we are going to deal with the UI automation approach, so we have to open the application. Then after opening the application, here we have two things. One is username field and the other one is password field. So we have to fill those username and password. Finally we have to click on login. So here to enter the username and password in our machine or in our laptop, which component we will be using? We will be using the keyboard component. Okay, so just for now keep it that in mind. It will be useful for while building the process. Okay, so we have to enter the credentials and then click login button. So that is the next step. So how we will be able to click? Using mouse only we will be able to click. Okay, so that is the next step. So the username is BP and then the password is password only. So now I'm going to click on login. So the next step, what it will take you to is, consider we are going to order a product in Amazon. So the first thing will be, we will be opening the Amazon application, and if it is asking the username and password, we will be entering it and then we will be choosing the product. So that's how we will be doing, right? Similarly here also we are going to order a new product or create a new order. Okay, so for that we have to click the orders button. Next, click orders button is the next step. So let me click it manually. So these are what are all the things which we are doing manually. Those things we are going to automate with the help of UiPath Studio. Okay, and once we click on orders, it will take us to the new window. So here we can see we want to create a new order, right? So what is the option for creating a new order? It is 1. So we have to type 1 and we have to click on go. So the next step is we have to type the value 1 and we have to click on go button. So that is our next step. So as soon as we click on go, it will take us to the product details page. For now in this session, what we are going to do is we are just going to hard code the value something like this 1 2 3 and then we are going to choose it as 1, and this is the drop down field, and here we will be not able to type any value. So here we have to choose it from the drop down field only. Okay, so let me choose 7 and this order value will be getting changed dynamically, like as soon as here we are selecting the quantity as 7, so 7 cross 1 it is 7 rupees, right? So it will be coming automatically. And customer account, again I'm going to give it as default. Finally we are going to click on submit. Okay, so this is the manual process that we are going to do. So next step is entering the product details, and we are going to finally click on submit. So this is the complete manual process. Okay, for now we are going to do it for a single record, but in real time the input which might we can get it from the database or else we can get it from the Excel also. Okay, but for now we are going to hard code the values just like I have shown. Okay, so now we have to automate this process. So what is our first process that we have documented? The first step is opening up the application, right? So let's close this and let's see which activity will be helping us to open the application. So let's type open. As soon as we type open, we will be getting 2 activities. Okay, we will be getting many more, but to open the application, like we will be having 2. One is open application. So when we use open application, this is only for launching the desktop based applications. We can go for open application. And open browser, So there are two kinds of applications out there, correct? One is desktop based application and the other one is web based application. So if we want to interact with, or if our automation is dealt with the desktop based application, then we have to stick with open application activity. And if we want to interact with the web application, that is by launching the URL, we will be interacting with that web application, right? Then in that case we have to go with open browser. For now we are interacting with the desktop based application, so I'm going to drag this particular activity and put it over here. So if we want to open the application manually, how we will be opening it? In the Windows search, we will be typing the name of the application, or else wherever this application got installed, we will be invoking that particular exe file, right? So this is how we will be invoking manually. But now using UiPath, how we are going to invoke, let's see. Okay, so for that, let me open this application manually. Why I'm doing it, I'll just show you now. Okay, because this open application activity has the property like file name. So here we have to give the executable file, that is the .exe file. We have to give it over here. And if you're not aware of the path of this file name, right, where it got installed, if you are not aware of that, no worries. What we can do, just we can click indicate window on screen, and then you will be getting the highlighter. Now we want to open this Centrix data solution application, so I'm highlighting that particular application. Okay, as soon as we indicate it, you can see the changes over here. In the file name, you will be able to see something called as my wherever the file got installed, right? So it is taking that particular path automatically. So UiPath is helping us to find that particular path automatically. Okay, so now what we will do is we will close this particular application and we'll try to run it, so that we will be able to validate whether the application is getting opened or not. So I'm running the bot. Let's check. As we can see, I haven't interacted with any. It got automatically opened when the bot got triggered. Okay, so the next step what we need to do, and if you observe one more thing in the properties panel, just now, like in the starting of the session, we have discussed something about selector, right? And you can see the target, the data type is string. So that's what we have discussed earlier also, right? And we have spoken about it will be in the XML format. So this is how it will be in the XML format. It will start with open angular bracket and then ends with this particular backslash and then the closed angular bracket, which indicates it has opened the node and here we are closing the node. This we will be saying it as well formed XML. Okay, and here currently we are dealing with a desktop application. That's the reason we are seeing this particular thing as WND. WND indicates Windows. Okay, and if you are going to deal with the browser based application, right, web application, then it will be, the tag will be starting with HTML. Okay, hypertext markup language. For now it is the Windows based, so it is giving it as WND, and you will be able to see other information which is related to this application. This application name is Centrix data solution.exe. And where are we now? Currently the window title, as you can see right here, we are in login screen, so it is giving the control name as from login screen. So this is how it got built by the developers. Okay, and let me click on OK. And also using selector, what I have mentioned, it is the address of the UI element, right? Currently we have indicated the entire application itself. So once we click on highlight, it should indicate the complete screen, that is the complete window of that particular application. So as we can see, it has indicated properly. Let me highlight it one more time and you can see it is indicating that particular application alone. So which means the selector is valid and the UiPath is able to interact with that particular application. That's what this selector indicates, and then that highlight indicates. Okay, so now what is our next step that we have documented? That is, we have to enter the credential and then we have to click on login button. So that is our next step, right? So for now we will be not following the best practices, because like the credentials, right? Here we are going to enter the username and password. The password is the highly sensitive information, right? And if it goes to the wrong person, it might end in the wrong way, correct? So we should not be hard coding the value in the studio, okay? Instead of that, we have to store in a centralized location, but for now we will hard code the value, but as a best practice we should not be doing it. So in future sessions or in upcoming sessions, we will see like how we can store the information in centralized location, that is called assets, okay? So now what we have to do, we have to type the value, right? So I'm typing just as type, okay? So once I do type, right, I'm getting some activities which are related to type, and you can see I have already asked you guys to remember one thing in mind, like using which component we are going to type the value, right? So here using the keyboard only we are going to type. Where we are going to type? In this particular UI element. In this particular UI element only we are going to type, correct? So I'm going to drag this particular type into activity which is available under UI automation, because we already know this is, we are directly interacting with the interface, so it is user interface automation, okay? And then the element. So here each one of the field is a UI element. Even the staff number text which we are having, that is a UI element, and this password is one UI element. This text fields are other UI elements. So here we are going to interact with this particular UI element. How UiPath will know like I have to interact with this UI element? So for that we have to instruct UiPath to enter the username in that particular field. So over here, how we can do that? As soon as we drag this particular activity, here we are getting indicate element inside window. So we can click this, and here is where we want to interact, right? Like where we need to enter the username. So I am highlighting that. As soon as we highlight, here it is asking to enter us the value. As we already know the string data type, it should be enclosed within the double quotes. So we have to give our username within this double quotes, okay? And again here also on the right hand side in the properties panel, you will be able to see something called a selector. So let's expand this again, okay? So this is our root node. So we have seen, right, while discussing about XML, we will be having root level node, intermediary nodes, and then the destination nodes. Similarly here also, the first one, the top level window, that is the top level tag, that is the root node. What it indicates? It indicates we are going to interact within this window, okay, the entire window. And in that particular window where we want to interact, the staff number field, the staff number field is nothing but the username field, okay? So this is our destination node where we want to enter the value. This is fine, and we have given the username also, and password. Again I'm going to drag the type into activity and indicate element inside window to interact with this password field, okay? And here again I'm giving the value password. So now this is also done, and if you see the selector of this particular thing, it will be changed. So for the staff number, you will be having like text staff number, but for password we will be having text password, okay? This is the property, unique property of this particular UI element, okay? So this is what the selector is mean, okay? And next step is what we have to do, we have to click on this login button, right? So just I'm going to type it as click. As soon as we type click, by using which component we are going to click, using mouse only we will be able to click manually, and here also you will be able to see activity called click, okay? So I'm going to drag that particular activity and put it over here. Now again it is asking to indicate that particular UI element where it needs to be clicked. This is the place which needs to be clicked, and again you will be having the unique selector for this particular element as well. So this is fine. What we will do for now, we will be entering the username and password manually, and we will click on login first. The next step, again here we need to click on orders button, right? Again you don't need to drag the activity from the activities panel. Instead of that, you can copy this and then paste it. So how I did, using Ctrl C and Ctrl V, like in other application like Excel or Notepad, whatever it is. And here we have copied the same activity, but it has to indicate the orders button. How we can do that? just click on this menu icon. So you will be getting something called as indicate on screen, and here I'm going to indicate this particular orders tab. Okay, so now it will be clicking this particular orders button once we trigger the bot. Okay, so this is also cool, right? What is our next step? Here we have to enter the value, that is 1. That is what we have documented already, correct? Next step is we have to type the value as 1 and we have to hit on this go button. Okay, so let's again go here and let's copy this particular activity, type into, because we need to type the value again, but here we have to indicate that respective UI element. So this is our target UI element and we have indicated, and this time we have to type the value as 1. So I have made the changes accordingly. The next step is we have to again click on that go button. So that is our next step. So I'm indicating this go button for now. So now this is also will be done by the bot, and the next step is like it will take us to the products details page, and in the product details page we have to enter the product code and all the necessary information. So we already know if we want to type any value, what activity we will be using type into activity, right? So let me use type into activity to enter the product details. So here I am indicating that product code, and let's give some randomized value like 1 2 3. And what is our next step? We have to again enter the unit price. This is again, it is a text field, so I have copied the same type into activity and I am indicating it again. So unit price will say it as 2. This is fine. And the next step, like while we were doing the manual thing, that time itself I have mentioned it is not a text field, it is a drop down field, right? So we already know, like if we want to type anything, then we will be using type into activity. But if we want to select any item from the drop down or list box or combo box, which activity we have to use? The activity name is select item. So using select item, we will be able to choose the values from the drop down. And before I'm going to do anything, just see this drop down, it shows empty, right? As soon as we indicate that particular UI element, that is this drop down element, we will be getting some values. Where it is taking from, where UiPath is taking from, let me go to the application again, and if you see the drop down field, it starts with the value 1 and it is going till 99. Okay, and UiPath has retrieved all the values from there, from the application to this particular studio. Okay, and you can see it starts with 1 and ends with 99. And here what I will do is we will go with some randomized value as 4. Okay, this is also fine. And next step is like again we have to type the customer account. Again let me copy the same activity, type into, and will indicate that particular UI element. This is customer account UI element, and will give some again randomized value like 2 3 4. Finally we have to click on submit, right? So we will do a click activity here. Okay, so now this is fine. Okay, so now all our automation steps, whatever we have documented, everything has been completed, starting with opening the application, entering the credentials, clicking on the orders and filling the orders details. Everything is completed. So now what we will do is we will try to run the bot, and then we will see whether it is getting successful or not. So before that I am closing the application and let's hit on debug file. So now the first thing what the bot should do is it should open the application, and as you can see it has fired up the application and it is entering the username and password. It will click on login and it is clicking on the orders button. So once it clicks on the orders button, the next thing is it should enter the value as 1, and it is giving the hitting the go button, and here it will enter the product details. So here comes to our end of the process, right? And the quantity it has chosen as 4. Finally it will click on submit. This is for one action. So here like in our upcoming session, right, we will be doing for multiple transaction, and those transaction that is those data we will be going to get it from the Excel. Okay, so in our upcoming sessions we will see that. But for this particular session we have seen what is selector, and with help of one example, that is with the help of this Centrix data solution desktop application automation, and we have seen the classification of selector, that is partial selector and full selector. Okay, but we haven't seen in depth about the partial selector and full selector, just we have seen the classifications. Okay, that's it. In our upcoming session we are going to see what is partial selector and what is full selector, because it is a vast topic and it is an important topic as well. Okay, so it needs a separate session. So in the upcoming session we will see about this particular concept as well. Okay, that's all guys for this session, and I'll be giving you the link of this particular application which you can download, and then you guys also can practice it. Maybe once you practice it, and if you have any queries and if you have completed successfully, you can let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys, bye bye.